Hi everyone, it's day 41, and yes, I have decided to continue. Why? Because this community has become so rich in support and cross-pollination, and you're all going out there as leaders. A couple of you were interested in knowing more about this painting. Here it is. Ya-da-da. See, it almost makes you seasick. I had this in my very first office in Maine. It's by Frank Handlin, a marine painter. You probably can still get some of his stuff. I loved him. He was a wonderful man who reminded me of my own father. So that's what that is. Let me turn off the sound on the computer. Couple things I wanted to go over today. One, a little bit of what cognitive dissonance sounds like in someone who's waking up. And this is from a good friend of mine, a doctor in Minnesota. And he says, well, Chris, Rashid Buttar is certainly an interesting doctor and person. I've sent him those videos. Very articulate, very brilliant, very passionate. I'm in the terrible and delightful place of being so mixed up that I have no idea what to believe. A few more weeks of you pumping truth serum into me, and I suspect I will know what to believe. Thanks, Chris, for sending me these videos for some very strange reason. I love it when I know to be true, when something I know to be true turns out to not necessarily actually be true. It makes for an exciting and humbling life. Now, that's somebody who's not wedded to their beliefs. This is another one from him. I am both loving and feeling sad that there's so much cover up and lying in the world. He gives his little town in Minnesota. From 1940 to 1958 in the town where I grew up, you could go to hell if you lied. So of course I figured no one ever lied. No wonder I used to so much love our time together. Oh wait, being I only left this town 62 years ago, I still have the innocence of a nun coming out of a convent. No wonder I used to so love our time together. We were together on the board of the American Holistic Medical Association. You bring something out in me that lies dormant too much of the time. You have a crazy and wild streak in you that is fabulous. I do. Still crazy after all these years. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention, after listening to the High Wire with that amazing Irish scientist, whose name escapes me at the moment. She is unbelievable and gives all the science and what everyone needs to do. Let me give you the basics of what she said. And it is that the virus hit the United States most likely in December, and then it peaked. And now she said by May 25th, everyone could go out of lockdown. There's no reason for it whatsoever. And she's been a virologist for years and years and years. Her CV goes on and on and on. And she also said that what people need to be told is to take vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, and that will protect the vast majority of us. But the vast majority of us have already been exposed. We have antibodies and therefore lifetime immunity. And she also said for those who are really at risk of getting sick, and she said like over 80 or with other pre-existing conditions, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, you would take 1 hydroxychloroquine a week, because she said the half-life is 7 days, and you take that with zinc. And if you just took that like once a week, then it would be like a vaccine. So I thought that that was amazing. She also said something interesting. Instead of being so afraid, what we need to do is hold our legislators and the scientists who are in control, we need to hold their toes to the fire, because they are doing enormous damage to people with these false narratives. And I love that, of course. And then they mentioned the work of Russell Blaylock, who is a world-renowned neurosurgeon, who wrote an article called Blaylock, Face Masks Pose Serious Risks to the Healthy. I'm going to hold it up. You can get this on, if you Google Russell Blaylock and face masks. However, if you copy the link and you put it on Facebook, the first thing that comes up before you've even pasted the link is that the fact checkers have already determined that this is false information. And then even if you do post it, it will be removed immediately. And if you keep posting things like this, they will make sure that your social media feed gets very much reduced. Imagine that. So if you're interested in the scientific reasons about masks, just Google this article and then email it to your friends or text it to anyone who's interested, because, this is very dangerous information, right? Now, another thing that I wanted to mention, Nettie Bento has a very good friend in Sweden who is currently in the hospital with COVID. And I just wanted to go over how you send divine love to someone. And we're going to send it to Ray Akutani, who is, I think, finally getting some vitamin C, but he has COVID. He's in the hospital over there. Jazz musician who trained at the Berklee School of Music. And that's right south of me in Boston. And so I thought this would be a good time for us to send divine love. I heard from Julie Ryan this morning, the medical intuitive with whom I work, and she often follows people in the operating room and follows them through the surgery, and she'll often say who's in there with them, like their mother and father, even if they're passed, are often with them. And she said the more prayers, the more you can see the prayers in the operating room when someone's being prayed for. So let's all send divine love and prayer to Ray Akutani in Sweden. So many of you have prayer lives, and the way you do it any way that you want to. And thank you, Nettie, for letting us know. So here's the way I like to do it, and I've taught this before, but let's do it again. Remember, you can use it for anybody, all right, including yourself, all right. With my spirit and the help of the loving angels of the light, I focus divine love throughout my system. I acknowledge the situation of Ray Akutani, and I ask that he now be completely healed with divine love according to the Creator's will. And I'll just say that with me. All right, or repeat after me, right? I now ask that he be completely healed with divine love according to the Creator's will. You take a breath in through your nose, hold it, pulse it out, unclasp your hands. Good. And then I normally just sit here and get images and so on. But you can do that because you'll be listening after this time is over, all right? And I'll also repeat it after this time is over. I've begun to notice that there's enormous power for healing and becoming awake in this group. And that's one of the reasons that I decided to continue. This is not the time to stop, because I believe we're now reaching critical mass. I was talking today with Michael Sandler, Vision Nation. We did a podcast, and he said, I call it butterfly training. Now, when the butterfly comes out of the cocoon, you got to wait, and it has to struggle out of the cocoon. If it doesn't struggle, it will die. The struggle actually helps the fluid get into the wings. And then after it comes out of the cocoon, it has to just sit there for a while, rest. Then it begins to do this with the wings, to flap the wings. And that effort actually creates the taking off, the ability to fly. And we're all, as we've said before, we're a caterpillar turned into goo, and we're not going to really come out of this cocoon, astrologically speaking, until December 21st. This is according to the astrologer Anne Ortley, whose work I adore. So the thing today that I wanted you to know is about cognitive dissonance, a review of that. I don't remember what day it is that I talked about that, but if you're interested in what I said, it's on the website questioningcovid.com, where there are at least 47 scientists weighing in on the mainstream narrative, okay? And then I read you from my friend Bill's emails what cognitive dissonance sounds like in someone with a really open mind. Because let me tell you something. When this is all over, and it will be over, I believe there's still going to be a bunch of people in their house, maybe for the rest of their lives, because they have been scared to death. Oh, what's the latest scare tactic? This is ridiculous. Kawasaki disease, or Kawasaki disease in children. Okay, after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, this doesn't affect children. Children have good immunity. Now they're coming up with that. Oh man, we're failing. We're failing to scare everyone to death. People are waking up. Oh, I know. Let's talk about something weird that happens with children. It's ridiculous, right? And by the way, please do not misunderstand me. People are getting sick. People are dying. Guess what? People get sick and die every year of all kinds of other things that are now not being attended to, like heart disease, depression, alcoholism, domestic violence, suicide. Those are not getting attended to. And you know that, and I know that. So anyway, I'm back for a while, and we'll keep talking. Thanks for being here. Turns out the army of the radical light is exactly where I'm supposed to be.